the New York Post, it says it's a senior Teen Vogue staffer who opposed Alexi McCammon's hiring as editor-in-chief over troubling tweets as a teen had herself repeatedly dropped the N-word in online posts, according to a report. Christine Davitt, a senior social media manager at the Condé Nast Mag, had earlier this month made public a letter by staff complaining about McCammon's hiring in light of her past racist and homophobic tweets. So this was, we talked about this last week. Alexi McCammon was hired to be, she's a very left-wing black woman who was hired to be the editor-in-chief, hired from Axios to be editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue. And there was this cancel campaign that started within the Teen Vogue ranks because of some tweets that Alexi McCammon had sent out 10 years ago when she was 17, which were really pretty innocuous at the end of the day, especially because it was a 17-year-old sending them. But she got canceled for that. And now we know that one of the people at Teen Vogue, this Christine Davitt, who was involved in canceling Alexi McCammon, had herself, when she was a teenager, also sent out racist tweets. So Davitt wrote on her Twitter after McCammon was fired, she wrote, "So proud of my Teen Vogue colleagues, the work continues." Then just hours after McCammon announced her resignation, saying that her tweets as a 17-year-old college student have overshadowed her work since then, Davitt wrote on Twitter, quote, exhales the deepest sigh I've ever sighed. So she was relieved. Finally, we got rid of this racist. Yet Davitt, who calls herself a queer, fat, Philippinks femme in Brooklyn. That's how I describe myself, too, actually, incidentally. No, she says she's a queer, fat Philippinks. Okay, so we've already, I guess I should have figured we were going to do this. We're doing Latinx instead of Latino or Latina. Now we're doing, instead of Filipino, we're saying Philippinks. But turns out she still had up on her Twitter old posts of her own in which she repeatedly dropped the N-word. She, at least twice, the Post reports, referred to a friend who appears to be white as a, quote, N-word with the A at the end, not the ER, but still. In 2009, and the next year also, she used the N-word in a joke tweet. And those have since been resurfaced. And I don't know, now she's going to have to lose her job too. You know, the dominoes fall. You get held to your own standard. Now, in reality, again, it's completely crazy. Like, objectively speaking, it is completely crazy that we would be holding anyone accountable for tweets they sent out in 2009, when they were teenagers. It's a completely crazy thing to do. But how can we not hold you to your own standard? You were just insisting that someone else get fired for the same damn thing. So of course we have to apply it to you. We have no choice. I don't like it, really, personally. What choice do we have, though? This is your standard. This is the world you wanted to live in. And so now we're going to allow you to live in it. It's what you wanted, you said. Now, and it keeps going. Meanwhile, a woman named Ellery Smith, apparently a comedy writer, tweeted after the shooting in Atlanta. She tweeted this, quote, "Remember when someone had their SNL offer revoked after using an anti-Asian slur, and so many people thought it was an overreaction? Hateful language begets violence. Hateful jokes beget violence. They minimize and they dehumanize and they allow for the normalization of terror." So, and this, she's apparently some sort of comedian, and this is in reference to Shane Gillis, who was fired from SNL a couple of years ago for some jokes that he had told in the past about Asians. And now Ellery Smith is bringing that back up and saying, and actually partially blaming Shane Gillis as if he hadn't been canceled enough. He lost his job, but partially blaming him for the shooting in Atlanta. Yes, because I'm sure that the shooter, who, even though he never indicated that he had any anti-Asian sentiments at all, Ellery Smith has decided not only did he have anti-Asian sentiments, but he was motivated partially by Shane Gillis's jokes about Asians. Well, because she said that, some enterprising person on Twitter went through Ellery Smith's old tweets and found at least one from 2013 where she jokes about how Thai food has cats in it. You know, the old joke about Asian food having cats and dogs. And she made a joke like that in 2013. That came up, and this is how she responded to the guy who brought that old tweet up. She said, "I posted a tasteless, racist tweet when I was 17. It was disgusting and normalized the exact kind of violence that I meant. Luckily, I have been willing and / able to grow in the past 8 years, so I look a lot more like the girl on the left, referring to her most recent tweet, than I do on the right." Well, there it is again. Now, and once more, normal circumstances, if we're speaking objectively, who cares about the tweet she sent in 2013 when I guess she was a teenager, even if she wasn't a teenager? A joke about how Asians have cats and dogs in their food. So what? By the way, that's a stereotype that we don't pull it out of thin air. That is an actual thing that has happened and does happen in some Asian countries. So you make a joke about it. Who cares? Even if she made the joke yesterday, who cares? That doesn't normalize violence. If you make a joke about Asian cuisine, in no way, shape, or form are you encouraging or even implying or insinuating that anyone should commit any violence at all against anybody. Obviously. But she herself was trying to pin a harmless joke on someone else, made it supposedly an anti-Asian joke, and that's her standard. Even though it's crazy, we have no choice but to apply it to her. But of course, she gets to say, "Oh, I've grown since then. I'm changed." So that's the thing you notice about the cancel culture mob. They get to grow, right? They get to change and grow and become different people. No one else is allowed to. They're allowed to. No. See, we can't go along with that. What we have now is it's become a war of attrition. This is mutually assured destruction. If this is the game you want to play, it's going to be turned back on you. Right? Like this a nuclear Cold War. That's what this is. You don't want to lose your job over dumb stuff that you said 10 years ago, then don't try to do it to other people. I think that's pretty reasonable in the end. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.